Hey y'all, and welcome to the Max Life. I am kicking off today. Today is actually church day, but we stayed home. And I am actually putting on some soup. This is our hamburger meat. This is our broth. I've got some canned carrots I'm about to add in here with some onions and some noodles. And we are going to make a hearty soup for this afternoon. Not as much for myself and the kids as for Mr. Mac. Y'all heard me say on the last video he's kind of been down and still manages to get his chores done, but today we are taking off. Yesterday, actually, I'm gonna have to go back outside today and walk y'all through two whole videos that I had recorded. I kind of split yesterday up, doing like an educational video and just like a regular vlog to show y'all what we were doing during the day. And of course, it was all on slow motion, so I'm gonna have to refilm that today. Colby had 2 better days. Come to find out, we've actually been exposed to the rotavirus, which is like a stomach bug. But we have not had any throwing up, and the kids complained a little bit yesterday that their stomach was hurting, and I thought, oh no, it's supposed to wipe us out. But then after a little while, they all went back outside and played. 3 of the kids actually said, Mama, my stomach doesn't feel real good. But then it has literally wiped Colby out. Like he has been down. The nights, what is so weird is the nights have actually been the worst. Up and down all night, running to the bathroom, and thankfully it has not been a lot of throwing up with that, because at least he's being able to hold some of that down. It just is not staying very long. It has been pretty rough on him. He's lost 7 pounds as of yesterday. So I told him today that I was going to go out and water and refilm my video that I did yesterday that we didn't get to publish. And it's just going to kind of be, we're not doing anything today. We have got to rest. Not as much me, actually. Yesterday I was a little nauseous on and off through the day, but I actually feel great today. The kids, like I said, have not complained. It has just been Mr. Mac that has been wiped out. And this is 5 days. Are we on the 5th day? The 5th day. Now he still goes out and does chores and has been recording and you know, all the stuff in between, but it is really taking a toll on him. So we're gonna try to get him some good stuff in his system. We have done a couple activated charcoal tablets in hopes that it will just help flush that virus on out. So we'll see. It's really a time thing. The people that we picked it up from is a couple of days ahead of Colby, and he's still sick with it. So I don't know. It's a couple. The wife had it for a couple of hours, like a day. After about a day, she was done. The husband has had it for days. It has stuck with Colby. Like I said, this is his 5th full day. But me and the kids have still been okay, so we're just going to cross our fingers in hopes that would be absolutely insanity if the kids went through what he's gone through already. So we're just going to count our blessings for right now and say thank you that nobody else is sick. And guys, we're going to walk out, and I'm going to kind of catch y'all up on some things that we've done outside, and we'll go from there. Well, I've got something on Mr. Mac's stomach, so we're going to leave him inside for a little while. So the first thing I want to walk out and tell y'all that we did, we brought the camera with us, did a lot of maneuvering around of the animals, and I'm going to talk y'all through that right now. For upcoming future reference, you see our bull. He is still actually right behind her. He is not going to miss breeding time. That is our Hereford bull and Gus. Dolly is over there. And we've actually moved Josie out. So Josie is our oldest Jersey, and we moved her out yesterday because it is time for her to be dried up. She is due in a little more than 2 months, about 2.5 months she's due. Gus, when she was checked, she was not pregnant. So we put Josie in, got the bull out, Dolly's been stench and training. She's due any day now, so that's where we are with the cows. Now, I explained to y'all yesterday in the video how he basically does a pregnancy test for all the cows. Now, yesterday, right when he went in, all 3 of the mama cows are still in there. 2 is bred, Gus is not. And what he does, if y'all are not familiar with how bulls work, they have a built-in pregnancy test all the way at the very back of their nose. So much like humans take pregnancy tests, you urinate on the stick, it detects the hormone, it tells you if you're pregnant or not. The hormone is there, you're pregnant. If it's not, the hormone is not there, obviously you're not pregnant. Bulls have a built-in system like that. So he scoops up with his nose. It is pretty disgusting, but this is how it works. He scoops up with his nose some of the urine. The urine goes all the way back to those receptors. If the pregnancy hormone is there, he doesn't have a drive for that cow. If the hormone is not there, it gives him a drive for the cow. And he will literally stay with her until basically he detects that she's in heat, and she will be bred that way. So we did all that maneuvering around yesterday. We had 3 sets of chickens that we were rotating in our mobile chicken coops, and we absolutely love those. We've told y'all before that we think very highly of those. And long story short, we had set everything up to butcher. We were going to go ahead and do the red broilers. When we got down there and started really feeling on the roosters, we just thought, you know what, for the amount of birds that we have, it's not going to be worth the amount of time that we put in for these birds, and we're not going to be getting the meat off of them that we want. Y'all, my eye is itching really bad. So we decided not to butcher the birds, and we clipped all their wings. We moved all of the roosters into the pig forest and the sheep forest, because even though we don't need all of the roosters in with the hens, they basically beat them up. So we separated them out, clipped their wings. Even though they're not feeding us per se, they are still working because they're scratching the ground, they're eating bugs, they're dropping manure in the fields, which feed the grass, and the grass feeds the other animals. So even though it doesn't appear as if they're working, they really are still working. We moved the hens around and put all of the hens in the hen house. So now we're just gathering eggs from one place instead of 4 different places like we were. So definitely a whole lot easier there. Okay, I've been looking for this. So that was all of the maneuvering around with the animals yesterday. We explained that in a lot of the video. Then we come out here on my second video and did a really nice series, and got midway through it and realized that it was on slow-mo. So what we did is, you guys had already seen us cleaning out these beds, which still look really, really nice. Y'all saw me in the last video prep them with rabbit manure. Well, yesterday was the day that we planted, and we got actually a lot done. You know, our family, because we're a big family, we eat a lot, which means we have to plan a lot of food. So today you're going to see me watering. My goal is going to be keep the soil moist. Now this is all mustards right here. We replanted this bed with mustards. Here in this next bed, we did all carrots. So this bed right here, you see I already have a row right there with some going to seed in the back. I do keep those seeds. Some of the seeds were some that I kept. Some were from a couple of different places, but the majority, of course, is from Survival Garden seeds. So this whole bed will yield us carrots. This very next bed that I'm moving to has a combination of Brussels sprouts and some cabbage over here. Now those are heavy feeders, which means I will be out here a lot making sure that extra compost is put on top, and rabbit manure. Sometimes we will dress the tops of things like broccoli that are heavy feeders as well with chicken manure straight out of the coop. We will sometimes side dress those things on top. Just, it is very important that those things do not get worked into the soil, because it will get to your roots and burn your plants way too quick. So that's a practice that we don't do. I actually did have a couple of people ask me about the rabbit manure that I was using. So rabbit manure is what's considered cold. Rabbit, goat, and sheep are all considered cold manure, so they can go directly into the soil, be worked right in with your seeds or beside your roots, and it will not hurt the plant. And the thing with chicken, horse, cow, anything like that, is it is considered hot, and if it gets directly into your roots when it has that much nitrogen in it, it basically will just burn your plant, or in other words, it'll kill your plant. So we don't do that. Usually what we do, if we have a heavy feeder like tomatoes or broccoli, you come along the top of the soil to the side of the plant, and basically what we do call what's called a side dressing, but you still have to be very, very careful with that. Now this bed right here that I'm watering is a combination. Over to the far side is spinach. Then we have different varieties of lettuce, all the way up to a row of cabbage, and I believe one more extra row of Brussels sprouts on this bed right here. So lots of room. Once we get all of our summer stuff cleaned up, of course you can see we have lots of beds. Now this is not something that happens overnight. We've told y'all that before. And it's something that takes time, and even once you get your beds established as far as the structure and the soil in the bed, you then have to build up your soil, which means you may need some time to get nutrients in your soil, whether it's with manure or compost, whatever that looks like. It does take a little while to develop quality soil. Over into this bed right behind me, which you guys saw us dig up sweet potatoes, I refed that bed really heavy with rabbit manure, and we replanted this bed with broccoli just yesterday. So this bed right here is full of broccoli. That bed right there is full of broccoli. And broccoli is also another one of those plants that are heavy feeders. So as it grows, we will continue to come out to these beds and add nutrients to the soil for the broccoli to grow. And I'm going to tell you what I did under my peppers. This is something that I have been playing with for probably a couple of years now. I won't say that I have been successful in everything, but some things I have been successful in. So doing this companion planting with layering. Of course you see that the peppers are really tall, and they're going to play out once the first frost comes. This is my high tunnel, but it still does get cold in here. So I've planted some kale underneath. Now this side is cilantro right here that I'm watering right now, but underneath the peppers is some kale. I did plant kale on one side, and once I cut my peppers back, I'm actually going to do something a little bit different with my peppers this year. If I can get this deep bedded, I do plan on cutting my peppers back and letting the kale grow up beside them, and in hopes that if I'm able to deep bed enough that my pepper roots will be spared and my peppers will grow back next year. That is my goal. Same thing with this side over here. I planted kale underneath the peppers to start growing up, because in no way, shape, form, or fashion it's going to bother my peppers. So I'm trying to do this layering thing with some things that grow tall and starting new plants under it. So we'll see how it works out. Over in my containers where I had my Cherokee purple tomatoes that have now pulled up, all of these are different varieties of lettuce. So I'm not soaking these by any means. I'm just coming in and giving everything a really light water to keep that soil moist while the seeds begin to germinate. So all of these containers again are lettuce seeds. We did plant lettuce here and there and everywhere. and I will tell you why. We eat a lot of lettuce. It is definitely a staple here, so we plant a lot. Now, I didn't tell you what was right here, but this was another section of spinach, and we planted 2 varieties here. And I'm gonna be honest with you, actually spinach is my favorite fall thing to eat. I love all the different kinds of spinach because I can toss them in salads, or I can cream them on the stove. It's really, really good. So over here, again, I already told y'all broccoli. In these 2 beds right here, this right here is another section of kale, and y'all have heard me already talk about the kale that's self-seeded, but we did add some seeds in on the other side. So I'm gonna get all this stuff watered before we move on today. You know, there are a lot of different things we teach you on the channel, especially in between our vlogs and just sharing. And since we're out in what I call my kitchen garden area right now, it's where I'm standing, I've had a lot of things grow. This has taken a really long time to build up. I have some stuff that is more ground level based, like my bee balm and my comfrey, the yarrow, the garlic chives. This is bee balm, pineapple sage. It grows. It can grow to get a little taller, but it's really easy to get cut back too. I've got St. John's wort in the middle of my yarrow over there, but then I have some things that grow really tall. I've got turmerics and garlics and more turmerics over there. I've got 2 pear trees that are going to grow up tall here. I've got this elderberry right here. Now, actually on this tree, just trimmed up the limbs that were going around the bottom because they were coming out too much and blocking the way. But you can see it's well over my head already. But one of the things I wanted to talk to y'all too about right now is I'm looking at 3 different flowers. This is my coneflower, or what some people call echinacea. So underneath those really, really spiky things look like this. And the ones that look a little bit more square, those are actually your seeds. Now, they are in a different place than 2 other flowers that I'm looking at. But if you see echinacea, the leaves and the roots are actually used in my elderberry syrup. I have a recipe. So roots and leaves are things that I can use, say, on my coneflower, or some people call it echinacea. And I have these growing all throughout the yard. They're wonderful for pollinators as well. Right here to my marigolds. Now, marigolds are a little bit different. Actually, under the flowering part, you will actually see this piece right here on the bottom. Now, this one is not dead, but you can see where the leaves are kind of, the petals are kind of done. And I'm going to just open this up for you so that you can see where the seeds would be. Now, these are where the seeds are located on a marigold. Now, those are the seeds. But I'm going to tell you now that these are not ready. And what I mean by these are not ready is they're not mature enough. So the longer a seed can actually stay with the plant, the more mature the seed will get. And obviously you want a very mature seed so that it will successfully germinate. Now I have moved right over to my zinnias. And you can see that this one is really, really close right here, but not quite there. I would wait until one got all the way dead. And actually what's so interesting about these is the seeds are beneath the petals here. So if I just took a flower petal right here and just pulled straight out, that you see right here is actually the seed. Now, I actually did all that to show you a couple of things. You know, we've talked to y'all a lot about collecting seeds, and it is so important. But seed saving is very, very complex, and it does take time. But I want to encourage y'all, maybe pick one of your favorite herbs and start with first. Herbs are pretty easy. I would say flowers are the easiest. So even if you like sunflowers, find out how to seed. Keep seeds from a sunflower. Start with that. Then maybe pick your favorite vegetable and maybe take on one vegetable for your current growing season that you want to try to learn how to keep the seed. But don't get discouraged. I would tell you to just slowly inch into it. It does take time and it does take a lot of practice. Now, some of the seeds that we were showing you that we were planting yesterday was, yes, seeds that I have learned how to keep. And that's the way that I learned how to keep seeds, was one step at a time. I would pick something, I would learn how to master that. Maybe if it was an herb and a vegetable, and maybe the next season it was a flower and a vegetable. But it is very complex because so much of the seed saving looks different. Okra, peas actually need to die on vine. When they're crispy, you get them off. Cucumbers and squash, zucchini actually need to almost rot on vine, and then you get those off. So it does look different from like maybe blueberry seeds or like a fruit seed that would need to go through cold stratification. And if y'all are not really familiar with that, you can just go right on over to the internet and type in cold stratification and it will teach you about that. It's actually not a hard concept. It's just learning the different techniques, the different ways. So guys, I encourage you, if you want to jump off into learning how to keep your seeds, just pick maybe one or two a season. Learn how to do those before you move on. Guys, thank you for tagging along. That's all for today. And until next time, God bless and happy homesteading, y'all.